Louisville has never lost to Virginia Tech here. Hokies trying to change that tonight. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Night, so Virginia Tech is in pink, Louisville in black, and we are underway. Action all around the country, and especially the ACC being affected by Hurricane Helene this weekend. Some rain making its way up to Blacksburg, and some of the meat of it will hit tomorrow. But Louisville drove here 6 hours, ready to get this game in. They haven't played in 12 days since losing to Pittsburgh 3-1 in their ACC opener. Virginia Tech dominated Boston College for the first 70 minutes on Sunday, but only led 1-0, gave up 3 goals in the last 20 to drop that game. So this is a bounce back for the Hokies. Jonathan Yardley and Lori Lindsay with you. And Lori, we talked to both coaches this morning. We got updates, and then we talked to each other, and we said this is kind of a tactical, interesting one that we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we do know for Louisville is being off for 12 days, and with their head coach, Karen Ferguson days, this is a team that's always defensively sound. They're going to need to use that to their advantage tonight. Just start the game off, build into this game, get some confidence. But for this Virginia Tech team, they're going to send players forward. They're going to look to be aggressive at home in the attack. But we are seeing a few tweaks in terms of both of these teams in their formation, their shape throughout. For Virginia Tech, it'll be more of a diamond in the midfield with a point and a little bit of a depth at the base of the midfield. And at times for Louisville, they'll have Dardano, one of their outside wingers, pinch in, and then Contini drop in as well to create a box. So it's going to be interesting who can control the midfield, who can get off to the better starts with confidence tonight.
Virginia Tech 7-3-1 on the season, 2-1 in the conference, including that surprise win over Clemson. And so that loss to Boston College, their first in conference play. This will be a throw-in going the other way for Louisville. But it is the 14th year as the head coach for Chugger Adair. And again, he goes back to the diamond. I was kind of teasing him. I said, I have to watch you guys every game to make sure I know which formation you're playing. And he said, we do love a diamond. But this is some possession for Louisville right up the gut. And Geigley, number 3 in black, was the target. Instead, Eden Skyers collected for Virginia Tech.
Well, one of the reasons why Chugger Adair and his Virginia Tech team love the diamond is because you get the numerical advantage a lot of times in the midfield, especially them in a narrow situation. So those midfielders are close together. You can connect passes, but then it allows for the outside backs of Skyers and George to be able to provide the width and more numbers going forward as well, and that suits them really well, their aggressive nature. We've already seen Skyers on this near side a few different times get forward.
They were able to pick off a pass from A.G. Gibson there, and then it's turned over. Gibson, 24 in black, able to win it back for Louisville. They start 4 freshmen, including both forward spots, with Contini and Fina Davey. Gibson, another one of those, as is the left back, Brooklyn Lee. Home crowd not happy as Lizzie Sexton won that back, and Lauren Hargrove alertly out to claim it.
Well, it's great work defensively from Sexton just to work back, create the tackle. Now it's about that final product, because as we mentioned, under Karen Ferguson days, this is a team that's going to be structurally sound defensively. Case in point right there, but it's that final decision when they play forward. Can they connect their passes and put Virginia Tech under some pressure?
Second ball won by Virginia Tech there. Natalie Mitchell blocked off by Sexton to win it for Louisville. There's the first pass and the second pass, exactly what they had highlighted coming into this one. Now the long diagonal. Contini didn't have the trailing runner to get on the end of that. Eden Skyers closed that down quickly, out for a Louisville throw.
Oh, smart again from Sexton just to connect her pass, not try to force the issue a bit by just playing that ball, lofting it into the 18-yard box, connects, then they could try to combine. But transitional moments for Louisville is going to be on. With the amount of numbers that we know Virginia Tech's going to send forward, if they can connect the pass, go quickly, it's going to be an option for them in the attack tonight.
Great footwork from Geigley. Pass into the penalty area was broken up, but it stays with Louisville. Knuckled wide, not a bad look right off the bat from Betsy Huckabee.
Well, it starts just from their defensive presence initially, higher up the field. Don't drop off. Don't allow Virginia Tech to get a rhythm. They win it. And then it's Huckabee with a good opportunity. It just drifts wide in the end of that top corner. Good idea.
Huckabee ever present in the lineup at the heart of that Louisville midfield. There is a change, and a forced change in the Virginia Tech midfield. Aino Vorinen, their Finnish center mid, hurt just minutes into the game against Boston College. Second straight year that Virginia Tech has lost a player to a season-ending injury late September at Boston College. Last year, it was Taylor Price, and Vorinen not expected to return anytime soon for Virginia Tech, so a shame to see. And her place taken by Kendall D'Amelio, who stepped in and played the rest of the game comfortably in midfield despite mostly playing left back for Tech so far. There's Chugger Adair, had to make that change. That College Cup appearance back in 2013. And really consistently, kind of under the radar, always has them in the ACC picture. Only 6 teams out of 17 make the tournament this year. It's a tough ask, but a 2-1 start bodes well.
Well, right on cue, too. You just immediately heard Chugger Adair say, come on, Kendall. Good step there from Kimball to come off the line. We immediately heard Chugger Adair say, come on, Kendall, find the game. Knows how important she can be, especially in the midfield, tucked in a little bit closer. And they use those numbers a bit more so far to get a hold of this game because it's a bright start right now for this Louisville team.
Fiona Davey chasing. And that will be a Virginia Tech throw. On the Louisville sideline, Karen Ferguson Days in her 25th year, former All-American at UConn, couple of caps for the U.S. national team. And one thing you can say about her teams is we know, as Chugger said, they're always going to be organized defensively. And Louisville, bit of a softer non-conference schedule, trying to get their offense comfortable, their possession game dialed in. And then the bigger tests, tied at Cincinnati, and then lost 3-1 in their ACC opener against Pitt. Probably exposed some things that they then had 12 days to work on, Lori.
When you don't often, Jonathan, get that amount of time, and we've heard a number of coaches, even dating back to the pandemic time, when there's more time for these coaches to be able to spend on the training ground with their players, coach. The season goes so quick. There's a lot of times it's just match day -1 play and then recover and repeat. So to have 12 days to be able to get players back and healthy, be able to work on some specifics in terms of positioning and just individual needs is welcomed by Kara Ferguson Days. Typically doesn't happen at this point in time of the season.
Yeah, the ACC with 17 teams, that means on any weekend somebody's got to bye. And some teams have tried to fill that with non-conference games, but more often is the case, you're just going to have a long layoff. And it came at a pretty good time for Louisville. Eden Skyers frustrated with the decision there. We're 10 minutes in, no score yet between Louisville and Virginia Tech. These teams were not picked to finish in the top half of the ACC, but both want to get back to the NCAA tournament this year. It's clear you're not going to have to make the ACC tournament to get into the NCAAs, but you're going to have to put together a good resume, and so this is head-to-head an important one for them. Kaylee Kimball, who has stepped into the starting lineup in goal for Louisville, came out to pick that one up, transfer from Purdue. We're so used to seeing Erin Floyd back there. She is available off the bench.
Well, yeah, and Jonathan, just to your point in terms of wanting to put a good resume together. Both of these teams had good bouts before conference play, and that is also key because, as we mentioned coming into this game, the fine margins, you have to find ways to be able to beat your opponent, and that was one of the issues for this Louisville team. Had majority of possession in non-conference play, come in, play Pitt in their first conference game, and kind of shell-shocked in terms of not having majority of the possession, kind of chasing that game. So it's a positive start right now. You see a rush pass that we just saw that's going to lead to this goal kick for Virginia Tech. But a positive start on the front foot. Kind of get a glimpse of why they've been successful against Virginia Tech at home.
This is Carson Cherry, their leading scorer with 6 goals in the year, pretty much 5 from corner kicks, 1 from a penalty. They tried the big switch for Brooklyn Lee, and it was broken up by George for Virginia Tech, and the Hokies on the move. Neat touch there, driven high and tipped over the top by Kaylee Kimball. Really good footwork to set up that chance from Samantha de Guzman.
Well, because of some of the shifts in the formation for both of these teams, transition also sets up nicely for Virginia Tech. They pick this ball off, and then they're off and running quickly, and it's a positive play, going 1v1 for de Guzman. Hits it really well, but Kimball there just to parry it over, send it out for the first corner kick of the game.
Set piece is crucial for both these teams. Eden Skyers, the left footer, will send in the corner. First of the game. Kimball at 6'2" came and didn't get it cleanly. Louisville trying to clear, and they do get it out of the 6-yard box. Nervous moments for the Cardinals. And Tech still pressuring. Back post. Lizzie Sexton there for Louisville. This is D'Amelio. Backward for Skyers. Wants to bring it onto that left. Really dangerous whipped in ball, but couldn't connect with anybody in Breast Cancer Awareness Night Pink.
Well, and they have really good shape behind the ball, this Virginia Tech team. So anytime it's cleared, if there aren't numbers close by for Louisville to be able to play forward and bypass that pressure, they're able to pick it off, have good depth in their setup as well. So able to immediately send balls back into the box. And now, as this game gets a bit more stretched, good in possession and go with numbers.
"14th minute, you could see the possession idea from Louisville. Able to connect them there. On the left back, Brooklyn Lee, just her second start for the freshman from Tacoma, Washington. Gets the return pass and keeps it moving. Cross blocked out, and Louisville has a corner. Won by Dardano. She delivers a lot of the corners, but she'll, as a left footer, pass this one up. But you know Carson Cherry is target number 1.
Well, and a lot of the space for both of these teams will be out wide. Louisville in that last attack did a really good job of utilizing it, baiting the defenders, then creating the little 1-2, forcing them to have to defend deep in their own half.
Betsy Huckabee to send in the corner. It looked like Allie Lewis was posting up to defend Cherry. Cherry's 22 on the right side of your screen, breaking toward the 6. Punched clear by Hargrove, and Virginia Tech able to knock it to midfield.
Well, set pieces certainly, Jonathan, are going to be real key to this game as it wears on because of the slickness of the pitch, just the slipperiness from the rain. Hargrove does such a good job to come out aggressively with confidence to punch that away. But if there's a good delivery, getting runners, getting a little bit of separation from your defender could be the difference in this game because both of these teams matching up really well right now.
If you take out the Bellarmine game, which was 7-0, Cherry's got about 40% of Louisville's goals, and most of those, again, are from set pieces. So that's why we make such a big deal out of where she is on a corner. Oh, that was a bad tackle. Allowed to continue as Tech had the ball. This is Allie Lewis. Just stepped into the lineup as ACC play started to come around.
Hey, you good? Hey, you good? Yeah.
There's Lewis, senior from Pennsylvania. Huckabee really calm, got it up front for Davey, but it turns over. Risky slide there, but it paid off for Hadley Snyder. Still Virginia Tech attacking with de Guzman, and Kaylee Kimball had to be alert and get down to her left in a hurry.
Well, she's been a bright aspect, de Guzman, on that right-hand side for Virginia Tech, because as soon as she gets faced up, willing to take on 1v1, a few good attempts that's forced Kimball to have to make good saves and keep a hold of it. Good energy to this game so far, back and forth for both teams.
Yeah, it felt like Louisville had the better of possession for a few minutes, but Tech's now got more scoring chances. Foot race, and Brooklyn Lee wins it for Louisville. Her high school coach said unmatched grace and humility when describing Brooklyn Lee, just raved about her. Usually you hear the on-field talents praised, and this was about what a leader she is. Stepping in as a freshman, and just her second start dealing with a big ACC opponent, and now dealing with a second early set piece. Well, they just played Boston College. There were a lot of corners in that one, and you can see they are a mainstay of any Virginia Tech game. Sarah Rosenbaum, 37, one of the targets in the middle as Skyers restarts. Didn't get the service they wanted in the end there.
And you get the idea, though, trying to go short, see if they can pull out a few players for Louisville defensively, but that second ball in has to be spot on.
This is D'Amelio. Dangerous ball through the 6. Kept in play. Weir set up the goal against Boston College. Tries to play provider here. Mitchell's shot took a deflection out for another corner.
Well, they're really forcing Louisville right now to have to defend deep in their own box. Gets popped out, and we've talked about the shape behind the ball for Virginia Tech. That's really been the difference, because as soon as it's cleared or Louisville's able to get a touch on it, good numbers back for Virginia Tech to be able to win it and then attack with numbers as well. There's another corner kick in quick succession. Good energy as of late, last few minutes for Virginia Tech to try to pin Louisville in.
Eden Skyers, senior from London, her second year at Virginia Tech. After transferring from Jacksonville, sends in the third corner. D'Amelio on her right. Shot was blocked as it came through. Her dad played soccer at Virginia Tech, Kendall D'Amelio, redshirt sophomore from Briar Woods High School in Virginia. Again, pressuring Louisville, and Dardano didn't have any choice but to hook it away for a throw. Kimball is 6'2", and I think starting her today may have been helped in part by worrying about Virginia Tech set pieces. What's been different, Lori, since maybe the first 10 minutes when Louisville looked calm in possession? to this part of the game where it seems Virginia Tech has the upper hand.
Well, in possession, that's where it changes. Virginia Tech has just calmed themselves down a bit and connected their passes. Are a bit stretched early on and have done a good job in the last 10 or 15 minutes just to settle themselves, connect their pass, and then they can attack with numbers or go 1v1. They do have a variety of ways that they can attack, and we've seen that as of late. In particular, as you just mentioned, D'Amelio, she'll have the luxury to pinch in, create those overloads or numbers even situation against Louisville, but also she'll stay wide at times to provide the width, and we've seen her do both, which has allowed them to be more difficult to defend from Louisville.
Lizzie Sexton battling with Eden Skyers here. Foul whistled against Skyers. Free kick for Louisville.
That's a few fouls from Skyers, but I like her ability to get forward. That time D'Amelio was pinched in. That allows for Skyers to get higher and wide. That's where she wants to be. Really good in the attack as well, can cover a lot of ground. And there's the foul. Sexton putting herself in a good position between Skyers and the ball, and just a bit too ambitious from Skyers. Uses her momentum, pushes Sexton down.
Good pressure from Virginia Tech to win it back quickly. There's Pelkowski, four-year starter. Chugger Adair described her as the epitome of the Virginia Tech student athlete. Gonna roll up her sleeves and go to work. Campbell, James Madison, Delaware, High Point, and the big one at Northwestern in non-conference play for Virginia Tech. Lost at home, though, to Liberty. One they're going to rue.
When you could just watch Pelkowski as well. We mentioned the formation change. Diamond in the midfield, they prefer that. At times they can be more narrow centrally, but they do get the width from the outside back. But they have the ability to play this diamond because of Pelkowski, and play that holding midfield position by herself. Just picks really good positions in possession, but out of possession. Her movement, as we see right here, just to close players down, deny the forward passing lane. One of the key parts to not only their defense, but their attack as well.
Great turn out there initially by Fiona Davey. Never able to get the cross in, though. Fina Davey, I called her Fiona out of the letter there. Now, a chance for us to remind you that our next two women's volleyball matchups feature number 13 Georgia Tech hosting number 1 Pitt this Sunday. Tremendous matchup. And then October 6th at Louisville, both at 1:30 Eastern on ACC Network, and of course available in the ESPN app. '24th minute here, no score between Virginia Tech in pink on Breast Cancer Awareness Night at Thompson Field and Louisville in black. Again, feels strange to have a team, Virginia Tech, that has played 3 conference games already. This is only Louisville's second. But with the odd number of teams, schedule doesn't line up quite as evenly as it once did. Pitt and Miami are out on the West Coast this weekend.
Yep. Well, and even more, Jonathan, a reason why this is a must-win in a lot of ways for Virginia Tech. You're at home. You've played double the games that this Louisville team has, and you're a bit more played in. Yes, you can make the argument that Louisville has had more time off to work on specific things, get players back healthy, but you're played in, you're in a good rhythm. Important to continue to get numbers forward and try to put this Louisville team defensively under pressure.
What does that mean to be played in? It's just talking about a rhythm in terms of when you're competing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once you hit after preseason and once you start getting into games, and that's the most enjoyable part, and there is a rhythm to your schedule, typically Thursday, Sunday for a lot of these teams. So we are going to see one of the first subs for Louisville, but it's just the rhythm of understanding the cadence of your week that's important, and when you have a big layoff, you get out of that, you need to adjust quickly once you get back into your game schedule.
Molly Cochran comes on, number 9 for Louisville, had been starting earlier in the year. Coaches usually like to have 1 week off, but 12 days is stretching it. Or 1 week between games, I should say, not a week off. Chance here in the penalty area. Geigley. Skyers got in the way and eventually was fouled. Free kick coming out for Virginia Tech.
Well, that time it's Skyers, and this is what we were talking about. Her ability to get forward and back defensively has been called on the attack on a few fouls, but this time, look at the positioning. Just gets herself right in front of Geigley and then forces her to bring her down. Really good play from the left back.
Temperature in the upper 60s in Blacksburg. Rain, of course, expected, as it is for much of the country right now. Can you do it on a rainy Thursday night in Blacksburg?
No, you did not.
You had to. It's unavoidable. 6-hour drive for Louisville up into the mountains to get here. Came in last night, of course. That's turned over. Big tackle at the edge of the penalty area. Hadley Snyder had to get that right and made it count for Louisville.
Well, how many times, Jonathan, have we talked about defensive structure, the discipline from Louisville? But the next thing now with this Virginia Tech team having a little bit of the better play is, can you get Geigley and the two front runners more involved?
Anna Weir gets to her right foot. The shot blocked by Cherry. Blocked another one as well. Cherry key at both ends for Louisville as we see Virginia Tech go to its bench for the first time today. Here is Taylor Price, just over a year removed from ACL surgery. Ava Arengo enters as well. Price was one of the bright freshmen 2 years ago, and that's when I see Virginia Tech, people say, hey, how's Taylor Price doing? That name kind of stuck with people. And it was an injury more than a year ago now, but Lori, even when you're back from an ACL, nobody's ever back to their best right away.
Yeah, you know, and I was talking to a few players earlier this year in multiple different arenas of games that I call and professional soccer, and it really is all about marrying, like, yes, there's one aspect of getting back and competing, but there's also another aspect of, like, actually getting into games and feeling confident in that way. So there's a myriad of different levels of building confidence, getting more accustomed to, and feeling just calm within that process of recovery and being back on the playing field.
We're so happy to have Price back, junior from Ashburn, Virginia. Four game-winning goals as a freshman. Virginia Tech setting up shop in the Louisville end at the moment. Rosenbaum. Valley George spreads it out wide. And the cross at the near post, not a lot of threat for Kimball, and a player knocked down and a foul whistled in front of her anyway.
Well, it's easy grab for Kimball.
Reese, the referee.
Yep, and it's an easy grab, Jonathan, but great build-up play for Virginia Tech. That's the calm composure that we were mentioning that's changed for Virginia Tech outside the first 10 minutes of this half, is that they're just able to get numbers forward, they're spreading it out, and they're moving it with confidence. A lot of numbers back inside the 18-yard box for Louisville. So they're doing a good job making it predictable for themselves. That's where the final pass for Virginia Tech has to be a bit better, whether it's delivery from the wide areas or just looking to play a little final pass through the seams.
30th minute, no score yet. Louisville in black, Virginia Tech in pink. Both teams have been very good in the first half, and just about even goal differential in the second this year, but neither one able to create a breakthrough here. Gianna Angelillo and Emerson Jennings in for Louisville. And Ella Valente for Virginia Tech. Brooke Dardano taken down and gives up the throw into Virginia Tech here. Told you Virginia Tech, 3 ACC games under its belt. SMU already has 4. They're 2-0-2. North Carolina is 3-0. The team's currently atop the ACC standings, but again, with the odd number of teams and the differing number of games played, it's not quite fair to chart who's leading at the moment. But what have you made of the early weeks of the season? Of course, it's the ACC. We have 4 teams ranked in the top 10: Duke, Stanford, North Carolina, Wake Forest. Oh, and Florida State. Can't forget Florida State, who somehow is number 7, right? Clearly going to be one of the challengers. What have you seen so far in the early going from those contenders?
Yeah, well, what we expected is not much is separating these teams, as we're seeing in this game right here, but it's who has confidence and who can punish in the closest of games. It's just the smallest little details to get right. I mean, to your point about Florida State, they missed and have been missing a lot of players due to the U20 World Cup in Colombia, still finding ways to be productive and get results. Duke playing in a 3-back, so they're able to push numbers forward, a formation that really suits their personnel. And Boston College as well. Only won, I think it was 4 games last year. Well, they've already surpassed that this year and played a bit more of a direct style. So there's a lot of variety in the way these teams play, and there's a high tempo. I think typically with the ACC, you think of possession-oriented conference. Well, we're seeing that evolve into, yes, possession-oriented, but teams get numbers forward and they do it quickly.
4th corner kick for Virginia Tech. Allowed to arrive at the back post, and it's knocked in! Pressure at the back post, and it pays off once again for the Hokies to get that opening goal. Taylor Price, back from injury, has her 2nd of the year.
Well, this is exactly what you want from substitutes, and we've said this time and time again throughout this first half. Set pieces can be the difference in this game. Both teams doing a good job defensively amongst one another, but then there's the first ball in. Easy attempt early on, failed to clear, and then you get the numbers around the ball, and then it's Price that comes in, just screening. There's the failed attempt to be able to clear the ball out as it comes back across the 6-yard box, and Price just putting herself in a great position. Just the first time, keep it on frame, finds the back of the net for the first goal of this game.
They lose one player for the season due to injury as they continue to celebrate one who's about a year out from ACL surgery, getting her 2nd goal of the year. Pretty cool for Virginia Tech. Lori, well, we have a player down, so we'll check on that first. Molly Cochran getting back to her feet. Lori, I mean, going back to the goal, how does that ball get to the back post for such a wide open look? That's going to be frustrating on film.
Yeah, well, first of all, it was a great delivery, but then you have, it looked like be Allie Lewis just attacking it with aggression. There's the collision of Cochran. It's a tough challenge between her and Pokowski, it looks like. But it's the aggression, the ability for Lewis to try to get there first, to keep it alive. That started that play in the goal eventually.
Ella Valente crosses it out off of Lee. Another corner kick coming.
An exact response that you want. After you're scoring a goal, immediately getting numbers forward. That's one of your substitutes as well. Valente coming in on that right-hand side. 1v1 situation, forcing Louisville to have to defend in those areas. With how slick it is, that's always a difficult task. Keep your feet moving, not slip. Make sure that they have cover behind them.
Eden Skyers provided the dangerous delivery on the last corner, led to a Virginia Tech goal. Here's number 5, taken short. She gets it back. Another dangerous one and headed wide. And it was Taylor Price once again, dangerous at the edge of the 6.
Well, as I was mentioning, it's difficult sometimes when you're coming back to focus on your recovery, but then also be asked to have to produce. Well, she does that on the first goal, puts herself in a good position on that second one as well. Seems to be building with confidence. Another good set piece, that time taken short.
Second ball won by Louisville. Dardano on the sideline. And the ball will stay with Louisville.
Good tackle by Pete. Good tackle.
I think Louisville, Jonathan, will be disappointed giving up that set piece. How stingy they've been defensively, because even though this Virginia Tech team has earned a lot of set pieces throughout this first half, they built in with possession. Louisville's done a good job of really denying them clear opportunities. Give it up on a set piece. Now they're going to have to chase this game and could play right into the hands of Virginia Tech, because as it gets stretched, as Louisville sends players forward, Virginia Tech will be happy with those 4 players in the diamond formation in the midfield just to control the tempo to their liking.
You saw Taylor Lewin come in. Sophie Maltese, one of the co-captains in as well for Virginia Tech. Louisville had a shot way back in the 6th minute. Not one since then. It's a 10-1 advantage for Virginia Tech in this first half. Those are the shots on goal that have either gone in or forced to save. Angelillo out wide. Cross didn't come to anything, however. And Virginia Tech quickly back on it.
I think that.
Now, a reminder, our Week 5 ACC Network Saturday football lineup starts at noon Eastern. Boston College hosting Western Kentucky. That's followed by Wake Forest hosting Louisiana Lafayette at 3:30. And then the nightcap, SMU, Florida State, 8 o'clock Eastern. All of it here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. We'll also have Syracuse against Holy Cross at noon Eastern on ACC Network Extra and ESPN+. Taylor Lewin, unselfish pass ahead. Price again, she's got 2! Taylor Price in style, putting the Hokies up at home.
Oh, and this is what I was talking about in terms of game getting stretched, opening up. You get fresh legs from Lewin, Price coming onto the field, and Price has been dominant since she's come on as a substitute. There's the big ball over the top, difficult to deal with. It's Cherry that's trying to take it down instead of just clearing the line. That leads for it to bounce right to Lewin. What a ball that was, though, into the path of Price for her to be able to take that first touch, settle herself, and as Kimball comes off her line, she's able to just slot it to that far post. What a finish, but what a beautiful final pass that was from Lewin to set her up.
You said it. Taylor Lewin, the freshman, didn't take a touch, just looked up, spotted Taylor Price, and slotted it through with just about the perfect weight to let Price run onto that one.
Yeah, it's difficult, too, because Cherry, who we've sung her praises and how good she's been, just tries to take that off her chest. You understand that she's just trying to collect it. That's what you want from one of your leaders on the back line, but you just need to recognize where the danger is, and if you have players from that big ball that are coming underneath from Virginia Tech, just clear the lines, head it out, allow for your midfield to be able to collect and create the composure. Instead, easily picked off as is misplayed. This one pass that leads to the goal.
So Virginia Tech seizes control here late in the first half. And again, Lori, we go back to Sunday against Boston College. They got one early goal, never added a second despite golden opportunities. Here they're able to do it before halftime. That's a big check mark.
Yeah, huge goal. Just with the separation, and now you feel the challenge is that much bigger for Louisville, but just an excellent job from Virginia Tech. They started off this game, Louisville really with the better of the play the first 10 minutes, but then you can just get yourself settled, use that played-in rhythm that we have talked about to your advantage and the home field advantage. And they're showing that they can score in a variety of ways, off of set pieces, off the run of play, getting numbers forward, and Price with both of those goals.
Virginia Tech continuing to apply pressure. You can hear the voice of Chugger Adair out at the edge of the technical area. I think most of the stadium can hear him.
He also knows how important this first half is. If you can get a third goal, put this game out of reach, allows you to get some more players involved in this game, rest, but also with them playing double the amount of games of Louisville and at home, once again, just need to punish the opponent when you can. Play a bit quicker. They have the capability.
'40th minute, couple of goals from Taylor Price have Virginia Tech in front. On one, she cleaned up the rebound of an Allie Lewis effort from a corner kick. On the other, she ran onto a perfect feed from freshman Taylor Lewin after a Louisville giveaway. And it's that clinical finishing ability in the final third that every team in the country is looking for. And Virginia Tech has found some quality there tonight. Emma Kate Schroll will give Betsy Huckabee a rare rest in the Louisville midfield. At the back with Lauren Hargrove. Started 2 years ago and then had to go back to taking a back seat to Aaliyah Skinner last year. Lewin again, looking forward, offside flag is up. And any foul won't matter as Arengo was flagged for being off.
But you like the positioning of Arengo, just trying to get on that inside shoulder, coming from the backside. There's a little spin move, keeps it alive from Lewin. But then it's Arengo that's just trying to sneak in, get in front of her defender. Ultimately just a bit too eager though with the run, called offside. Substitutes though for Virginia Tech doing a really good job of bringing energy, exactly what you want, and forcing Louisville to have to defend in some situations that they wouldn't want to. 1v1 right on top of the box.
Final 3 minutes of the first half. And again, Virginia Tech is just going to rue that 20 minutes at Boston College because, again, they are in control of this one with a 2-goal lead, and it just that 20-minute stretch could be keeping them from a 4-0 start. And the schedule plays well for them. They don't have to play Stanford, Duke, North Carolina, Wake, Pitt, or Cal.
Well, and obviously you would be upset with that loss, but better to come at this point in time in conference play than a bit later. Learn from those mistakes, understand that you need to continue to get that second goal, third goal when you have the opportunities. And Chugger Adair even talked about that. They missed a few chances that they didn't take that allowed for Boston College to stay in that game and then punished them in the end. Learn those lessons now to set you up once postseason play comes.
Yeah, they missed a penalty kick in that game as well. Up 1-0 early second half that could have created the separation they have in this one. On the Louisville side, Lori, has to be frustrating to wait 12 days to get back on the field, to get off to a good start. It seemed like they had for 10 minutes. And you find yourself not only defending most of the first half, but now trailing 2-0.
Well, I think they expected some of this coming into the game, that they're going to have to defend. They're going to have to be tight between the lines. There's a pull down. And all these little fouls just play into the hands of Virginia Tech to stall the game, create the tempo that they want. But Louisville coming here, traveling the 6 hours by bus. They just knew it was going to be difficult. They're going to have to stay compact defensively and then look for transition moments. Well, we've seen a few of that, but you got to give credit to Virginia Tech because defensively they made that difficult because the shape behind the ball, out of possession. As soon as it's turned over, they're able to regain possession, which is getting numbers back behind, and it hasn't allowed Louisville to be able to create those transition moments. So I think at the conversation in the halftime for Karen Ferguson-Days has to be, how can we get some of our front runners with Contini, Davey involved in this game? If they're starting, dropping them back a little bit, connect that first ball, but then get somebody that's always testing the back line of Virginia Tech, because we really haven't seen them be able to get numbers beyond that back line, cause problems.
Just one shot for Louisville in the first half. It was way back in the 6th minute. Emerson Jennings, though, just missed an empty net as time runs out in the first half. That was their ticket back into the game. Jennings pounced on it side, so he's got 2 coaches for parents. And pretty cool to see Brandon in the professional ranks, even as an amateur. Hasn't signed a pro deal yet. He's still ready to play both high school soccer and high school basketball in Louisville. So that was a neat thing to add for Louisville, but Karen Ferguson-Days is fond of saying, I have 28 other kids, or however many kids are on her roster that year, and they start this second half trailing 2-0. Virginia Tech at home is in pink on Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Louisville in black on the road is on the back foot. Even as we start this second half, Weir's shot took a couple of deflections and rolls harmlessly to Kaylee Kimball.
Well, for Louisville, it's just going to be key that they don't concede in these opening 5 minutes. Just build a little bit more confidence. And as we heard Karen Ferguson-Days say, get Huckabee Gibson on the ball, allow them to build, and just create a bit of simplicity but just calmness to their approach in the attack. And sometimes when teams are playing very direct against you, you start to get into a bit of a direct game yourself when really you want to keep some of that possession. The lines will open up in between, so you can read the second ball, be confident on getting them on half turn, prove to be successful in the second half for Louisville.
Just underway in the second half. And again, if you missed the first half, Louisville seemed on the front foot, good possession, moving the ball well, creating chances first 10 or 15 minutes, and it was all Virginia Tech after that. You heard what the coaches had to say. Chugger Adair pretty happy, even though coaches will never admit that they're happy at halftime. And Karen Ferguson-Days felt like Louisville got away from that possession approach and kind of tried to run with Virginia Tech, for lack of a better way to say it. And a transition game, this chaotic game, favors Tech, certainly. some discussion about which way that throw-in should go, and that's us was correct. Eden Skyers able to return the ball to play. Appears to be starters back on the field in every spot for both teams. Those players are allowed one chance to re-enter in the second half. For Virginia Tech, in a 4-4-2 diamond, we'll reset it for you with Lauren Hargrove in goal. Allie George, the right back. Kylie Marshall and Allie Lewis, the center backs, exchanging passes right now. And the left back, Eden Skyers. Diamond in the midfield, Emma Pelkowski on it right now, deepest. Natalie Mitchell is highest. Samantha de Guzman and I think Kendall D'Amelio started. That may be the one spot they've switched is left center mid. Up front, Anna Weir and Sarah Rosenbaum, the forwards for Virginia Tech, and the head coach, Chugger Adair.
Well, this is why it's been difficult right now for Louisville, because you can see even if they're trying to keep a little bit of possession, the work rate, determination for this Virginia Tech team to get numbers back behind the ball and force the turnover and regain possession. And they started this half really well in terms of just moving the ball around, making a little bit better decisions. And we heard Chugger Adair, that was going to be the conversation going into halftime. Be a bit more patient in the build-up, as that's going to be an offside.
And we did get confirmation it's Ava Arango staying in the midfield for Virginia Tech, so one change from their lineup. There's Arango, sophomore from Ohio. So again, there's a spot open there with Ino Voronin out injured, and D'Amelio played so well on Sunday, started today, but Arango getting some run of minutes here. Space wide on the right. Cross coming back for Dardano. Took it with her right and finds the corner. Louisville is right back in the game. What a start to the second half.
Well, it's the best build-up that we've seen from Louisville all game long, and started this second half very much like they started the second. High energy, looking for the big ball over the top. It all starts on that right-hand side. Quick little combination, get numbers forward. But right out of your screen right now, Dardano just in a position, no one picks her up, able to take that first touch to get herself in a position as a second touch, just lofts it into that far post. What a beautiful goal that is. And it's Hargrove that's outstretched, trying to make the play, get a big hand on it, can't. So perfectly placed shot right into that far corner, cuts this lead in half for Louisville.
Second career goal for Dardano. She's known for her assists. She's known for her pinpoint left foot. And to bend that one in with such precision with her right. A really big moment for Louisville to stay in this game.
And she did such a good job of just holding her run. A lot of times you can be eager to try to get into the box, put yourself in the best position, but she just stays out of it. That allows the time for her to be able to collect it with her first touch, and then the second touch is the shot. Doesn't go with pace, just tries to curl it in, does that. Just like that, cuts the lead in half.
Dardano, by the way, both parents are chemical engineers. She took the ACT, maximum score 36. She got a 35. Right? What do you do? What if you get 35 out of 36? You say, thank you. I can now get into any school that will have me. No, she took it again. And what happened? She got another 35. And she took it a third time and finally got the perfect score. She said, I just needed to tighten up that math section a little bit. So if you're wondering whether or not she's a perfectionist, the answer is yes. Sister Brianna is a freshman at Xavier this year. I'm sure they're hoping to square off at some point. So this game has a very different feel to it now, Lori, right? felt like Virginia Tech was cruising despite that Jennings chance at the end of the first half. But the Dardano goal has created new opportunities and confidence for Louisville.
And we'll actually see how Virginia Tech responds, because we saw the real clear opportunity from Jennings, just missed at the wide post in the last few seconds of that first half. What a change of events this would be if that one had gone in as well. So it's just about Virginia Tech now and their response of getting the ball under control, regaining a little bit of possession in this game that allowed them to establish the tempo they wanted to in the majority of that first half.
You can see how hard Louisville's working defensively through the middle. They won this ball back. Dardano had the overlap of Brooklyn Lee and just couldn't find the right opening to
but
squeeze
it's a good
the pass through.
Yeah, exactly. And you're exactly right, Jonathan. And I like that, though, from Dardano, because she doesn't force it, just peels it back. Now they give it away. So they have to be mindful of, if they are going to slow the tempo down, it can't just be the next pass that puts them under pressure, because then they will be out of their shape defensively. So making sure that they're connecting passes even when they slow the tempo down.
.53rd minute here. A reminder, Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, the ACC Huddle crew will get you ready for the day in Dallas. 60-minute pregame show leading into the triple header of games that starts at noon with Boston College hosting Western Kentucky. ACC Huddle crew will also have halftime pre- and post-game shows throughout the day, and they'll get you ready for SMU Florida State at 8. A full post-game show after that to wrap up the night as well. ACC Huddle all day here on ACC Network Saturday. Right here, Thursday night soccer. One of 3 games going on the women's side tonight. And Virginia Tech looked to be cruising up 2-0 at the half on a couple of Taylor Price goals. That shot's gonna slip in, it makes it 3. Virginia Tech's lead restored on a long-range hit. And the Hokies are back on their way.
Well, how quickly can Virginia Tech pounce? Because Louisville, after scoring that first goal, starting to build energy, confidence in the game, not allowing a lot of touches for Virginia Tech. And this is just a beautiful individual attempt. Really, Kimball should be doing better with this, so it's so long range. Just keep your feet moving, do whatever you can to be able to get a touch on it. Yes, there's speed. Yes, there's some bend on it and some spin, but Kimball in such a good position initially. Just keep your feet moving, get a little push off, see if you can parry that over, and taking nothing away from that shot and that individual attempt from distance.
3rd goal of the year for Anna Weir, the sophomore from Ackworth, Georgia. Passing her total from last year at mid-season. Last year she had 2 goals, 2 assists. And we talked about how important the 2nd goal was for Virginia Tech. The 3rd, restoring that 2-goal lead equally so. This is de Guzman. Loves to twist and turn, and Brooklyn Lee knocks it out for a corner kick. Remember, Virginia Tech threatened and scored from a corner kick in the first half. They had 5. And it was one from this corner that Skyers bent to the back post. Kimball couldn't get to it with so much traffic. Led to the opening goal. I mean, is this an automatic take it short? You kind of have a 2v1 out here, Lori?
We also scored on it.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah. I think
that's kept alive and twisted just wide. Good look for Rosenbaum, but she couldn't turn it on target.
Well, initially, Jonathan, I think they're just adding a second player out there to draw one defender out, but they look dangerous, and this is the second attempt. The first one found the back of the net in the first half, and that one doesn't miss by much, but you see how difficult right now it has been for Louisville to stay with their marks on that second phase. As soon as the ball is kept alive, from Virginia Tech. Louisville losing their marks, wide open attempts. Fortunate for Louisville defensively, that one just peels wide, but another good look for Louisville, utilizing set pieces to their advantage. Or excuse me, Virginia Tech to their advantage.
You saw the shot count 13-3 in Virginia Tech's favor. The shot count at Pitt 12 days ago was 27-5. Now Louisville stayed in that game. They got a penalty kick and stayed in it until late. Virginia Tech threatening to add on here. Top corner, they've got 4! What a finish! Curling it to the back post. And Natalie Mitchell is back, leading Virginia Tech and creating some separation.
Well, one of the things that we heard in the first half from Karen Ferguson-Days was that the direct play was causing them a ton of problems. Well, here it is again. And Mitchell has 3 players around her, but look at that finish. Just top corner with pace, enough bend to get past Kimball, but that's going to always be such a difficult ball to save. Just gets her head up, and at the right moment before the tackle comes in, just unleashes top corner attempt for the 4th for Virginia Tech tonight.
It looked like she was trying to chip that the way she hit it, and she could not have hit it any better. 9 goals last year for Natalie Mitchell, playing a little bit deeper, more of a midfield role this year, her 3rd. And now Virginia Tech might be able to put it on cruise control.
Well, and that's one of the things with this formation is because they can be direct, and at times if they stay calm and allowed to build in numbers, then that's where you get George Skyers providing the width. But if not, being direct is what this formation provides them. So many numbers centrally, and you get Mitchell, who's playing that attacking midfield role, but plays like a forward, running out. It's difficult to defend when you make those runs out of midfield. Even when she has 3 defenders around her. What an excellent finish that was.
The first half goals came in quick succession. So did these, less than 2.5 minutes, separating Weir's goal from distance and Mitchell's upper 90 hit.
And now the focus for Virginia Tech has to be to make sure that they don't concede any more goals and allow for Louisville to think that they can get themselves back into this game, because there's still a lot of time to play. So how do you manage it if you're Virginia Tech? 2 really good goals, quick succession, now defend, but then also just create the tempo, take the sting out of the game.
3rd goal of the year for Mitchell. We told you 3rd goal of the year for Weir. And Taylor Price now on 3 goals as well with her 2 tonight. Virginia Tech came in 2nd to last in the ACC in scoring. Now again, you always have to factor in just who you're playing early in the season, but nice to have a breakout game and get 4. There you see the total, ahead of only NC State. And NC State, speaking of, is who Louisville plays next on Sunday. So 59th minute, and again, Louisville had ways back into this game, hit the post at the tail end of the first half, scored early in the second half to make it 2-1. But the long-range shot that the goalkeeper, Kaylee Kimball, is going to be frustrated with made it 3-1, and Virginia Tech capitalized soon after with a fantastic finish. And they'll work into their bench here. D'Amelio coming back on. And Ella Valente as well.
Also showing in number 29, Kendall D'Amelio.
This is Weir. Thinking about a second. Gets space, and it's closed down at the very end. Out for another Virginia Tech corner.
Well, one of the things that's been clear for Virginia Tech throughout their conference play, especially tonight, is just they can threaten in a variety of ways because we've seen them go direct. They have good players that can take on 1v1, but obviously also dangerous off of set pieces. It really comes down to their defensive presence, that shape behind the ball when they are in possession. As soon as it's turned over, they do have ability to win it back quickly and go with numbers.
7th corner still loose. And knocked out to the near sideline. Big hug for Taylor Price coming back in. And on the Louisville side, Molly Cochran returns. And the freshman Amelia Swinarski in as well.
Yeah, connect.
3-goal lead now for Virginia Tech. Their next action is a week from tonight at Miami, which has certainly not been an easy out this year. And then home games with Florida State and SMU. So to your point from the beginning of the show, Lori, important for Virginia Tech to take care of business tonight, and they look on their way to doing it.
You can see what they're trying to do. Virginia Tech now, just to establish even more control of this game, they're just going to move the ball around the backside, see if they can invite some of the pressure, and then look to play beyond, whether it's through those central areas where they do have that diamond midfield, or just direct into their front runners. Smart play because they have the ability to play out of the back and keep possession, especially through Lewis and Marshall, 2 center backs.
For Louisville, again, Sunday they host NC State, and that is one they're really going to need to try and put in the win column even more than normal, because after that, check out what comes up next. At North Carolina, at Duke, well, that's a fun weekend. Notre Dame at home, Stanford at home, Cal at home, and then they finish with Boston College and at Clemson, which all of those teams are postseason hopefuls.
Yeah. Well, I mean, regardless of the form that you're in and where you are in the rankings of conference, that just feels like a mean schedule in general.
Yeah.
With
that's
all of
going to be
those,
most of the ACC, though. It's just a gauntlet.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just about putting yourself in the best position possible.
Valente's cross is not cleared. It's slammed home. 5 for Virginia Tech. And it is a hat trick for Taylor Price. What a night for her to be back on the field, and scores 3 at home tonight.
Well, she certainly has a knack for putting herself into the best position possible to score goals, because this is an easy tap in, but she also just continues to be a threat because immediately starting to play, then she gets herself higher up the field. And it's unfortunate for Kimball because she does a good job of putting herself in that position right there to be able to make the save, but just a little bit of a bobble, coughs it up, and then Price is going to be in the right place at the right time just for the easy tap in her 3rd of the night. Going to come back for Price and how important she's going to be throughout the rest of this season for the Hokies.
Taylor Price, 2 goals last year before injury ended her season. 8 goals as a freshman in 2022. Sugar Adair said the soccer side is still coming. She's done awesome to get back on the field, to get in shape. And as Lori noted, some of these goals have been poachers' goals, right? But the finish on the second was perfect. And 3 in a night does kind of announce yourself, hey, I'm back, and we have some firepower up top.
But that's the name of the game for a striker, for a forward, is just putting yourself in the best positions, anticipating where the balls are going to come. She sees the ball is out wide, so just aggressive with her approach and her run to get inside the 6-yard box. And you're always going to be there for any sort of ball that's coughed up, and certainly is what happened on that attempt from Kimball. Couldn't get control of it, and Price unmarked right in front of goal.
Pelkowski bending ball, and a good one. Found the head of Rosenbaum, but she couldn't turn her look on target. And was offside anyway, so it'll be a free kick coming out for Louisville.
One of the positive things, Jonathan, is for Virginia Tech, even though there was that last attempt in the few seconds leading into halftime and then conceding the goal early on in the second half, they've really responded well. Each time, even after that first 10 minutes where Louisville in this game had some of the better control, better opportunities, responded, able to compose themselves, and it's all these little details in this conference that matter. You have to be able to regain control at different times. If things aren't going your well, take the lead, execute when needed. All of those things have been key for Virginia Tech, and really important response after that loss away at home to Boston College.
Louisville on the move here. Lizzie Sexton, the right back. Emerson Jennings wants to hit this and couldn't turn it on target.
You got a challenge. Do that little work here.
Jennings getting regular minutes on the right side. Junior from Noblesville, Indiana. If you're Louisville, Lori, do you manage some minutes here knowing you have a second game coming up this weekend?
I think you just have to figure out how you want to see out this game. It's really been put out of reach from Virginia Tech. So finding moments, what are the areas that you want to work on? You were able to take the 12 days to have some specifics that you noted were like, okay, this is where we need to get better. Now can you implement those even though you're not going to win this game or get a result away from home? So start keeping possession, make better decisions in the final third. Even if you can't execute, start trying those things against a team that's played at a high level tonight. And yes, if you can, rotate players, but ultimately you want to be able to do that and rest players through your possession, through the way and style that you want to play.
Good connection there with Angelillo trying to slot one through, and well defended at the back by Allie Lewis and company. That loose touch picked off by Geigley. Said her second choice was Virginia Tech. Lofted that one too high from distance. She acknowledged she liked city life a little bit better than the hills of Blacksburg as part of her decision, but liked a lot of things about Virginia Tech. And Mickey Easter, goalkeeper, and a grad transfer from Marquette will come on for Virginia Tech. And we'll also see Lauren Gogol, senior from Annandale, Virginia. It's always easier to switch goalkeepers when there's no shutout involved. And a yellow card for Emerson Jennings here.
Ladies. Hey, we got
Hey, hold on. Stop, hold on.
Took most of the first half for Virginia Tech to break through. Finally scored from a corner kick in the 32nd minute. Struck again less than 5 minutes later, capitalizing on a turnover. And you see the last time they got to 5 goals in a conference game almost 3 years ago when they took down Miami. But it has not been totally straightforward. Louisville hit the post, made it a 2-1 game. And Geigley, twisting and turning, tried to get it forward but couldn't reach Molly Cochran.
Well, and that's where the pressure's coming fast and furious from Virginia Tech defensively. Just need to have better support. Somebody just saying, hey, slow it down. If it's not on to play that ball through, let's see if we can go out the other side and create a better opportunity. There's some of the things that Karen Ferguson-Days was talking to us about. Better decisions in the final third, connecting passes. If they can't go quickly, what's the other way that you can pull teams out defensively and create options for yourself?
Louisville with it through the middle. Swinarski kept it going to Lee. Her pass picked off by Allie George for Virginia Tech. Usually she's the one cleaning up those scraps from corner kicks, but Taylor Price has taken on the job tonight. Could see the idea there, but well read at the back by Kylie Marshall. 20 in pink on the ball right now, Marshall. Red-shirted last year, but has stepped right into that center back job in 2024. Now tomorrow's ACC PM with Mark Packer will come to you from Dallas, prepping for the Florida State SMU football game Saturday night. Catch ACC PM tomorrow beginning at 4 Eastern. And then Saturday night, 8 o'clock, Florida State SMU football right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Kendall D'Amelio moving forward, slide tackled off the ball. It's one right back, though, by Marshall. '71st minute with Virginia Tech in control of this one. As they go back to the new goalkeeper, Mickey Easter. You may have noticed her wearing that neck collar, and that's usually something that minimizes the impact of concussions. I know I've seen a couple of players wear those. I don't know Easter's specific background on that side when she was at Marquette. Although we do know she already has her BS and her MS, so she's going for the Information Technology Masters here at Virginia Tech. And this will be a corner kick coming for Louisville.
And I think they have to really focus on these opportunities as well, Louisville, because we've seen how dangerous Virginia Tech can be on set pieces. Scoring on the first one, where the first goal came off of a set piece. But for Louisville, when you're thinking about kind of defining and creating a little bit of change in your attack, it's just making sure that you can get Cherry involved, get her freed up to try to get on the end of this.
Huckabee delivers Louisville's second corner, but didn't get it past the near post defender.
Number 22, Sophie Maltese. And number 31, Mason Nelson.
Diving header in the midfield. Love that to win it briefly for Virginia Tech. They couldn't hold it this time. A night like this, Lori, I mean, this is slide tackle, diving header, do whatever you have to do. You're going to be moving on that slick grass.
It's actually played a lot nicer, I think, than you and I expected. I think we thought it was going to be a lot more waterlogged, but instead it's just created a good tempo for the game. High energy, both teams want to attack quickly. We do know that, so
credit the staff.
Hasn't played as big of a part, I think, as we expected.
I mean, grounds crews, again, an entire, at least quarter of the country concerned and trying to mitigate the effects of the hurricane this weekend. And at Virginia Tech, they've got that down. pressure at the back here on Snyder, and it does turn over to Lewin. Maltese was trying to connect with Price once again. She's been the main figure for Virginia Tech. A couple of goals early. Louisville pulled one back early in the second half. And after Anna Weir restored the 2-goal advantage with a shot from distance, Virginia Tech piled it on. Natalie Mitchell in the 57th, tremendous finish. And Price, opportunistic from close range. 3 goals in less than 10 minutes for Virginia Tech in response to that Louisville tally.
Well, that certainly has to be the talking point for Virginia Tech. Yes, you're scoring 5 goals, but also with Taylor Price coming back and being in great form, whether she starts going forward, whether she comes off the bench, is a huge asset. In a lot of ways, it just continues to create the competition. If she's coming off the bench, then you want the starters to be performing, scoring goals too. So it just sets you up at a pivotal time in this season for everybody to be in form and contributing to the attack.
Coaches around the conference, whether they're watching or not, are going to look at the box score and say, uh-oh, Taylor Price is back. Brooklyn Lee, nice touch to get a step on George, but the experience of George held her up just long enough to let that ball run out of play. And we'll get Erin Floyd, who's been the starter much of the year and in the past, replacing Kimball here. Now, Floyd had not been at 100% coming into that 12-day layoff. And Karen Ferguson-Days said she's ready to go. And so certainly you'd have to consider Floyd as an option to start on Sunday. Because she's played a lot of these big ACC games and is comfortable with it. So she'll get a few minutes here as Louisville restarts. Swinarski, diagonal ball for the run of Lee. He's not afraid to take players on, pressuring George. A lot of pressure here, player goes down. No foul, the decision from the referee, Luis Reese, and Virginia Tech was able to clear.
Yeah, a bit of a close call.
He wants to review it,
Yep.
or else there's a player still down. Yeah, he's going to review that, and you understand why.
Yeah, I think both of you and I thought it looked like she was potentially taken down.
It looked
Not
like the
surprising.
goalkeeper, Easter, caught the legs
The previous play is under official.
as she was moving away from goal. And so Reese will see what the monitor shows. So if a penalty kick should be awarded in the past, this wouldn't have been reviewable. But now the option they do have, and that was Amber Jackson taken down. So the review will be to see if the goalkeeper, Easter, fouled Jackson as she chased the ball. Jackson, another who has started earlier in the season for Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be awarded as a penalty kick because Easter comes off her line. He's trying to play the ball, but gets all of Jackson right there. And, you know, a bit of a clumsy attempt from Easter. I mean, she gets caught between both players, but if you're going to come out, you need to be sure about it. Instead, just gets taken down. But the momentum of her takes Jackson down as well.
Yeah, she didn't get the ball at all in looking at the replay.
No PK.
And Luis Reese does not agree with us. It happens.
I mean, it's an interesting one for me because if you're going to attempt that, you're bringing down a player and you don't get the ball, then that's a penalty kick. especially
Amber
if you go to the monitor and look at it.
Amber Jackson's reaction was way better than mine because I would have had some choice words, and she just said, "Let's go, let's keep going," and I love that.
I think if there are positives, though, I mean, we still have 13, 14 minutes left to go, Jonathan, but if there's positives from this game for Louisville, despite conceding 5 goals, is that when you play direct and you pick your moments, they've looked dangerous, but then also when they've been in good position to try to win the ball higher up the field, they're not afraid to have that determination, aggression to put themselves in positions to create chances. Saw that there, and that forced Easter substitute goalkeeper to come off her line in what we initially thought was a penalty kick.
Victoria Moser in for Virginia Tech. There's no question effort has been there and stayed there for Louisville. And as you said, they've been dangerous when they've gone forward, but haven't had enough of the ball or been able to turn any possession they have had into chances. '78th minute at Thompson Field. This looks like it'll be the first time ever, actually, that Virginia Tech has beaten Louisville here. Louisville leads the all-time series in the games here. 1-0 Louisville win 4 years ago, the last time they played, a Morgan Bentley goal and a tie back in 2016. I did enjoy that they don't quite agree on the all-time record. 3-2-2 is the mark in the Virginia Tech record book. In the Louisville record book, they take credit for a win back in 1986 that was against Virginia Tech's club team. You know, you can understand why you're playing the school's representative, but so there's a little discrepancy there. Program went to the varsity level in 1993 at Virginia Tech. And no, Chugger and Karen were not coaching in those games. There's Aaron Floyd out to get it for Louisville.
Getting her back too, Jonathan, will be key because this Kimball doing a good job. There's been a few opportunities or a few chances from Virginia Tech in this game that resulted in goals, and Kimball put herself in a good position, but then ultimately, coughed up possession, just couldn't keep a hold of it. That did result for Virginia Tech finding the back of the net. So having Floyd immediately, just on that last play, you see her, she comes out for the ball, good communication between her and her defense, and then rows the ball out to gain a little bit more territory to then be able to play the ball long. It's just, again, going back to the finest margins in this conference, have a confident goalkeeper, much like for your attackers. You want them to find the back of the net. Well, you need your goalkeepers to come up big and make a play at times. And credit to Kimball, she did put herself in those positions, did come up with some saves, but to be able to have 2 goalkeepers that you can rely on is going to be important for Louisville down the stretch.
More subs coming on. Amelie Dagnillo. Among those checking in for Virginia Tech. And Piper Davidson on the Louisville side. A lot of familiarity between players on the teams we found at least 3 different summer teams that had players from both squads on them in either the WPSL or the W League. And that included 2 of the more successful ones, Racing Louisville and Indy 11, which won the W League title 2 years ago and this year went to the conference final. So there's going to be a lot of hugs and handshakes. They don't quite trade jerseys typically at this level, but good to see some friends you're playing against. This is the Indy 11 overlap. And again, Indy 11, very successful summer. Their biggest win was the was the conference semifinal against the Minnesota Aurora, which is just a great program. And Carson Cherry scored the first goal, and Natalie Mitchell scored the game winner. So teammates just a couple months ago, and on opposite sides here.
Yeah, and it's just a great opportunity for these players to get good competition, but then also with how short and fast and furious the college season is, to get more important games. And ultimately, depending on and whatever these players choose, now an opportunity to really be seen by professional clubs, because no more draft, so it's not just relying on the college season. There are free agencies across the board starting in 2025, so more opportunity to be seen by professional clubs, the better, and that's a wonderful way, especially on how good those teams have been.
Cross to the back post and couldn't connect. And those professional opportunities, of course, now include the USL Super League, which is connected through the USL W League. So those summer opportunities can lead to some direct scouting opportunities. I'm very curious, Lori, and I'm sure you are, to see what January looks like in terms of professional signings, as some more changes and the rain really starts to pelt down and impact this one.
We almost got through it. Almost.
You can hear a little bit of the conversation about the rain really coming down now.
We told everybody to stay dry, and as they're saying, we missed it by a good 20 minutes here. I mean, they were never going to stay completely dry, but it was manageable until now. Here's Lewin. She set up a goal in the first half with a tremendous pass. Couldn't connect with anybody that time. That ball's in a dangerous spot and allowed to run all the way through the 6.
Yeah,
as Virginia Tech continues to apply pressure.
Yeah, good-looking ball. You're exactly right, Jonathan. And really, since the 7 minutes left to go, it is all about both of these teams just getting out injury-free. Now with the rain that's coming down now, that much more slick. You feel like you can get to loose balls sometimes, go into challenges that you don't always or are used to going into. So just be mindful of that for all these players.
Some numbers for Louisville here. Trying to pull one back. Emerson Jennings gets the cross in. 2 players there. And in the end, neither Cochran nor Jackson could do much with it. Beg your pardon, it was Davidson, as you saw. 5-1 Virginia Tech lead. They appear on their way to a 3-1 conference record. And they want to put themselves RPI-wise, strength of schedule, resume-wise in position for an NCAA tournament bid that they missed out on last year. Sophie Maltese was pulled back, and I believe that's Hadley Snyder picking up the yellow card. Second one against Louisville tonight. A 6-hour drive is going to feel longer on the back of a 5-1 scoreline. But a quick turnaround again, home Sunday against NC State.
What number 25 on the yellow? 25. 25, thank you. 25. 5 black.
Tomorrow night on the men's side on ACC Network, Virginia and Stanford will play. And women's side action on ACC Network Extra, both tomorrow and Sunday. This will be a free kick for Louisville, 5.5 minutes to play. Seventeen teams in the ACC this year, as you see. Wow, that's big for Cal to beat Pitt.
Yeah, huge win, yep.
Long trip out to Berkeley for the Panthers.
And that's what's going to be interesting about that throughout this season is how do each of the teams, right, when they travel east, but then also when you go out west, how do you deal with that travel or conference play?
NC State hanging around with Notre Dame as well. Notre Dame's been in a bunch of tight games. Lewin going to the back post off the crossbar. Still alive. And the header goes wide. Virginia Tech wanting 6.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, Taylor Lewin and Taylor Price have been exceptional off the bench, just causing problems. Lewin's the one that set up Price for her second goal. That one hits the crossbar, but just been a handful with her movement, determination, and a lot like Price, even though she hasn't found the back of the net, consistently putting herself in position. It makes it difficult to defend, pin her down, have those assets coming off the bench. Really important and great addition for Virginia Tech.
How about being a tired defender late in the half and you see the Taylors coming in?
It's unfair.
Pass is picked off by Jennings, running at the Virginia Tech back line. Doesn't have numbers. And does win a free kick, though, with a nice hesitation and change of pace. Mason Nelson just into the game late, picking up the yellow card.
Well, yeah, and this is where the slick field comes in. Nelson just losing her footing. No, she's potentially going to be beat in that 1v1 situation. Just gets caught up.
She had been starting, first time back on the field since losing her starting spot. 46 players in this game between the two teams combined. Ball comes right back. And eventually it's a sliding Lewin who clears it past midfield.
There's a microphone here.
Final 3 minutes at Thompson Field. Virginia Tech trying to bounce back in the best way possible from the 3-1 loss to Boston College. A resounding 5-goal performance tonight. And Laura, you get a free weekend during the season. I mean, that's a nice weekend coming off of a 5-1 win.
I think much like we talked about, though, with Louisville and how they were going to come off of the 12 days off. Virginia Tech scoring the 5 goals, a lot of confidence, momentum, just need to carry that in to their next game, but deserve rest. Great performance here tonight.
Yeah, it's only a week off for them. They're back in action next Thursday as Emerson Jennings tries to get to her feet. Pain just etched on her face. I hate seeing that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell if she gets clipped or if it rolls. Regardless, gingerly walking off.
Louisville still attacking here late, picks up corner kick number 3. And Amelia Swinarski over to take it. Huckabee started. They said, no, we want to see Swinarski play this in. And by the way, Amelia, hurry. Also didn't get past the first defender. You hear the cries of drop coming from Louisville, worried about the ball into space, and eventually Sexton was able to cover it. Louisville does a lot of passing and moving. You know, not just play the pass and admire it. They look for a return pass or for some space, and that you'd think would bode well.
And it should. And again, those are the things that you need to continue to build on. See where the successes were, which is that passing and moving, especially kind of in your defensive third, that middle third. It's just the final third, the final pass that's let them down tonight. And Virginia Tech really has done a good job of committing numbers back, playing both sides of the ball, so it stalled any sort of real clear opportunities.
Swinarski, good service that time, punched away by Easter and cleared by Virginia Tech. Final 30 seconds here. Virginia Tech defending for the moment. Mickey Easter slides onto it. 2-0 game at halftime. Louisville scored in the 50th minute to make it 2-1, but Virginia Tech exploded from there. 3 goals in less than 10 minutes. And the Hokies breeze to a 5-1 win and a 3-1 start to ACC play. Really convincing effort